cones to drop. The winner of this race will start the pre-final from 29th on the grid. So winning this race isn't necessarily as important as just getting home in the top 6. You're going to be down towards the back of the grid at the pre-final regardless of how you do in this race. So the battle for 6th position will be key, and I'll do my best to keep you up to date with the progress in the battle for 6th. And you can see that the drivers are struggling to get a bit of temperature in their tyres, because although the circuit may be dry, offline it is still a little bit greasy. The curbs, those red and white serrated and raised curbs, they also will retain a little bit of more water. And of course the pit lane exit is going to be even more greasy than anything else. So drivers have to be a little bit careful, somewhat circumspect, especially in the opening few laps where drivers 2 and 3 wide, you don't want to be forced offline. Now you can see the drivers going down the back straight now. This is the front straight, which you can see is straight for a little bit, and then it's a long right-handed curve into turn number 1. And turn number 1, it's a long right-hander. It just keeps going and going and going. Eventually it tightens up to a very late apex, and you cut back through turn number 2 into a very short shoot before the left-right flick at turn 3. There's the number 243 kart of Jack Deakin going through your screen. And they're out of position at the moment, but you can see that in a short while, Nicholas Scholl, as he comes through turn number 9 and 10, you can see Nicholas now slowing down, and he will bring them into their starting formation. Nicholas, the Austrian driver for the Strawberry Racing team, and now we see them slow right down. So Scholl and then Palomo on the front row. White and Croydon on row 2. Coolen and Kibble on row 3. Deakin and Poulsen on row number 4. Jack Johns in kart 262, who's was a little bit slow getting away, and if you see the karts going through there's only 13 of them. Well, Jack Johns is only now coming down the back straight, and he may not catch the pack before they start. So Jack Johns, well, I think he may just about catch the back of the pack. He comes through the screen there, and he will catch up, but he won't be in position. So 14 drivers come into the tram lines. Lights are out. We're off and racing. It's a good start from Nicholas Scholl. It's an excellent start, and you can see Nicholas, he doesn't even have to defend going into the first corner. He swings out nice and wide to get a good run, and up into second place has come Samuel White in the number 229 kart. Third looks like it's Niels Coolen, so the least experienced driver in this field, Niels Coolen, the Dutchman, is up into P3. Can he hold on in that black crash helmet behind Niels as they go through turn number 8 and down towards turn number 9? Is Jack Deakin, who is up into 4th place. Then it's Croydon in 5th. Patrick Kibble is in 6th position. So Palomo, from the front row of the grid, has slipped back a few places. I think Palomo may have slotted in about 4th place. So it's Deakin in 5th, Croydon in 6th, Kibble in 7th. But up at the front, Samuel White chasing the leader, Nicholas Scholl, as they cross the line to complete lap number 1. Now, White would do well to just follow in Scholl's wheel tracks. Nicholas Scholl finished 2nd in one of his heats yesterday. In his first heat, Scholl was the runner-up before things went wrong. So Sam White knows that number 225 kart is quick. Sam doesn't need to battle. If he just follows the Austrian, he can just allow the race leader to tow him away from the pack. All Sam White cares about is finishing in that top 6. And if he can work with the leader to pull away, that will safeguard him in the closing stages of this race. If they start battling, they will slow each other down. And Sam is doing a good job as they come through turn number 11 now onto the back straight. This is where Sam can almost help Scholl. You can see him not ducking out from behind the rear bumper of the number 225 kart, but he's just staying in line. pushing him along when he can. Niels Coulan doing a good job of holding on to third place. Then it's Palomo in fourth, Deakin in fifth. Oh, and I say that, what do I know, Mr. Commentator. There goes Sam White into the lead. Well, now what can Nicholas Scholl do? Well, Nicholas, you'll spend a couple of corners just gauging the pace of that number 229 kart, and if Scholl thinks, well, it's not slowing me down too much, he might sit there. If he thinks that Sam White hasn't got the pace to lead and that he's going to force the pace back a little bit, and Nicholas can see the drivers behind closing in, and they are closing in, because look how much closer Niels Coulan and Oscar Palomo are, then we may see Nicholas Scholl try and repass for the lead. At the moment, the most important gap on the circuit is between number 227, Tom Croydon, that red and blue and white kart going through your screen now, and the very brightly, garishly liveried yellow kart of Patrick Kibble. That is the gap between 6th and 7th. At the moment, Croydon is in the final transfer spot as Palomo has a little look at Coulan going through turn number 1, and he just eases Neil Coulan wide. So Neil Coulan now needs to gather his momentum again, not lose concentration, and just follow Palomo. Palomo far more experienced than Coulan, even though Oscar Palomo in that number 246 kart is actually only 14 years old. He was 4th in last year's European X30 Championship as a junior. As the leaders go through turn number 10 now. There's the gap between 6th and 7th. Croydon in 227. Then the number 214 of Kibble. And behind Kibble, there's a big gap to Antoine Perceval and Vincent Marcereau. So that's significant. At the moment, the top 7 have got a breakaway, but the top 7 are very closely matched. We're on lap number 4 out of 10. In fact, we complete lap 4. Go on to lap 5. White leads from Scholl, Palomo, and then a gap developing. Now, where's Niels Coulan gone? Niels Coulan is out of the race. Coulan has gone, and I didn't see where he went off. He was in 4th place, and I'm looking down. There is a driver. It must be Niels Coulan standing at the side of the circuit. And so Kibble moves into the top 5. Jack Deakin has dropped back. The order at the moment is White from Scholl and Palomo. Then a gap to Croydon in 4th. Kibble now up into 5th position. So Coulan has retired. Antoine Percival. Oh, Kibble runs wide coming onto the main straight. And you can see Kibble instantly looking over his shoulder. He's lost ground to Tom Croydon. And there's a driver. There's a kart at turn 13 that has stopped. That's Neil Coulan, and he's standing at the side of the circuit now. The marshalling team has gone over to see Niels Coulan, and I'm wondering what happened, whether that was an incident or an accident. We've still got 13 drivers running, but it's now number 216, Antoine Perceval, who is in the final transfer spot. The leaders, the top 3, coming through turn number 9 now. It's White from Scholl and then Palomo. Kibble is 5th. And then in 6th position, that driver with the red race suit, Antoine Perceval. He is now in the final transfer spot. And behind him, he's got his countryman, fellow Frenchman, Vincent Marcereau. And then it is Max Barnett. So Barnett up into 8th place. Jack Johns runs 9th. We start lap number 7. The top 3 are clear. White, Scholl and Palomo. They are at the moment safe. The only people that can knock them out of the pre-final and final is themselves, because the drivers behind are over 2 seconds back. Croydon running in 4th place. He has got a bit of a safety net as well, but it's Patrick Kibble in kart number 214 that'll be nervous. There goes Lewis Kent through your screen. He is in 11th place, chasing down Jack Deakin. And Kibble in 5th has got Perceval, Marcereau and Barnett behind him. There goes Croydon onto the back straight. Then there's Kibble with the bright yellow flecks on the rear of his bumper. And the battle for 6 between the 2 Frenchmen Percival and Marcero is coming into the turn 13 now. There's Percival with 245. Vincent Marcero right behind him. This is for the final transfer spot. Marcero to the inside. Percival holds him off. At the moment, Percival is in the pre-final. Marcero and Max Barnett just behind them are out. The leaders come through the very technical turn number 6 section. 229, Sam White leading. 225, Nicholas Scholl, and 246, Oscar Palomo. Then there's a gap of 2 seconds back to Tom Croydon. And here is the battle coming into turn number 9 now. It's still Antoine Percival in cart number 216, the Darms Racing. Jan Darms' French driver in the red race suit has got the 6th and final transfer spot. But Vincent Marcero in cart number 245, the Cartland driver on the red speed chassis, is just 3 kart lengths behind. Percival begins to defend. Marcero tries to go around the outside of turn number 1. Sam White still leads. Scholl and Palomo right behind him. And it's still Percival going through turn number 3 just off camera, who has got the place in the final at the moment. Marcero and Max Barnett are right behind him. There's Croydon going through your screen. There's Kibble. And here's the battle for 6th position. Antoine Percival has got to make that Tony Kart chassis for the Jan Darms Racing team as wide as possible, because if he loses a place, potentially, providing that nobody in front of him has a problem in scrutineering, if he loses 1 place, Percival goes home early, and Marceau and Barnett potentially could go through. Behind Barnett there's a big gap as the leaders now start their final lap. Nicholas Scholl looks to the inside, and Samuel White doesn't fight him. Scholl takes the lead of the second chance race. White second, Palomo third. Croydon and Kibble follow at a distance. They are safe. But it's going to be a straight fight. Percival still has 6th position. Will we see Sam White fight back going through turn 5 and 6? I'm not sure. Palomo is safe there as well, but will we see Palomo make a move into turn number 9? I would hesitate to say no, and indeed we don't. Everybody just behaving themselves. These drivers are quite experienced. They know that all it takes is 1 mistake and they could ruin their chances of making the pre-final and the main event. The top 5 are clear. There, coming into the back of your screen, is the battle for 6. Well, Scholl's defending into the final corner. Percival still has 6th position. Scholl is going to take the win from White and Palomo. Croydon and Kibble are 5th. Who's going to be 6th? It's going to be in the red race suit at the back of your screen. Antoine Percival takes the 6th and final transfer spot by 0.4 of a second over Vincent Marcero. And Max Barnett finishes in 8th. Jack Johns grabs 9th from Jack Deakin. Lewis Kent in 11th place. Then Mathieu Luton and Maria Solly Poulsen, the Norwegian driver, finishes 13th. And provisionally, of course, subject to post-race scrutineering, Nicholas Scholl is your second chance race winner for Strawberry Racing by just 0.2 of a second over Samuel White for the MLC Motorsport team. Oscar Palomo finishes in 3rd position. 4th for Tom Croydon. 5th for Patrick Kibble. And Antoine Percival for the Jan Darms team in cart number 216 takes the final transfer spot. What a relieved Frenchman he will be. Just missing out, and the following drivers, if things stay as they are, unfortunately, the following drivers, their Winter Cup is